Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. We have a little change of format today. Normally you will have been used to seeing a lot of vintage old iron on this channel, and that will continue, but we're expanding to include horticultural endeavors in our upcoming video offerings. After some requests, I thought I would do a few gardening videos and see if I get enough likes and subscriptions. If so, I will continue adding a few of these to the channel. If not, we'll just stick with what works in the old iron community. So today, the first part in a series on starting a few seeds indoors. As you can see here, I've got a few tomatoes and a few peppers, which are just starting to come up, scattered in amongst a few coleus and seed tray here. We'll follow these through the growing process. I'll also be planting some more in this video, and you'll be able to see them right from start to finish as to how they grow in the garden and what they produce. I acquired these seeds from a co-worker who in turn acquired them from his father-in-law, who stated that they were a family heirloom and they'd been kept for years and that over in Italy, so it'll be interesting to see as to how they turn out. From the descriptions that he gave over here in the seeds, I would take a venture to guess that this is a Oxheart style tomato. He said it was somewhat hollow, so that leads to the belief of a stuffing tomato. And this one over here, labeled long tomatoes, his description has a tendency to lead towards paste Roma style tomatoes. And of course we've got our peppers, which are just labeled as hot peppers. So should be very interesting to see what comes out and how things work out. Now these plants have been in the ground, or seeds have been in the ground for almost 2 weeks, maybe 2 and a quarter. And as you can see, they're starting to stretch for the light a little bit. I've been moving them around the mini greenhouse here. There's our light source up top, LED strip light there. But I've been moving them around, trying to avoid them stretching or bending too much, and of course giving everything a good little shake to help keep them from getting too stringy. You can see though they're still stretching. I should have the light lower to the ground, but we'll start a few different ones here and we'll see how it makes out. So you can see here, using a set of tweezers just to loosen up the pockets of soil. This is an older seed tray that I had around that I'd been using to grow out of, because all of my fresh soil in that is frozen out in the greenhouse. So I figured waste not, want not, and we'll reuse a bit of existing soil, but it is compacted from its last grow out in that. So just loosen things up in each little tray or each little seed pod. This is referred to as a 288 tray in the industry. You would normally get plugs in this. Seedlings start in the trays, and the little trays fill with roots, and you're able to stick a small little pencil in the bottom drain hole of each one of these plugs and pop the little root bound plants out. You can get these mail order from other nurseries for starting plants, but you might not want to start directly from seed. Things that are a little more difficult, like gardenias and Dusty Miller, has problems in some climates starting directly from seed, and they come already filled out. something like these coleus here would be. So you can see the roots on that in the shape of the plug, and then that could be potted up into a larger pot or tray or what have you not. Now we'll just brush a bit of this loose soil off, because we're going to use that to cover our seedlings. And please excuse my really poor camera work. Basically holding the camera with one hand and doing this with the other. Trying to pay attention to both where I'm pointing the camera as to well on what I'm actually doing. Which is easier said than done. So just bear with me here. I'm just going to loosen up 3 rows here really quick. And we'll plant some more tomato seed and some more pepper seed in here. The fellow that I got these off of work was quite interested in passing some of these seeds along, because he was left in charge of growing these out and maintaining this family heirloom after his father-in-law passed away. And knowing my interest in the hobby, he was more than happy to pass along a few seeds so that I could grow it out in case he has a crop failure in that. We can always swap seeds back and forth. Now I just noticed this little coleus cutting here that I put in a couple days ago fell out of the tray. I've been moving it around, trying to get the best light. The first roll of coleus there went in about the same time the tomato seedlings went in. I put these other cuttings in a couple nights ago, so they're still a little droopy and don't have any roots, but they do root fairly quickly. We'll pack that guy down. We'll mist him in with the seedlings. Hope for the best. And we're going to start with heart-shaped tomatoes here, and I'm just going to open this up, and we'll be right back with you. So there are some of our tomato seeds. Now I can tell by the way these are stuck together in that he most likely put the tomatoes on a paper towel, squeezed out the seed onto a paper towel and let it dry, and they're all kind of stuck together in that. Normally in the water fermentation process you can avoid that. And if anybody's interested in learning how to save tomato seeds and that and different techniques to use, let me know in the comments on that, and maybe we'll do a video this fall when these are ripe and ready. Alright, let's get these in the ground, see what happens. Alright, as you can see, we've got the tomatoes and the peppers planted there. My apologies, so I couldn't show you me putting each seed in there with the tweezers, but that requires one hand to hold the seed and the other hand to tweeze, and no hands for the camera. So maybe we'll get a little better setup later on where we can show that. So on the far right of the photo is the Oxheart style, or big hollow tomatoes as they were listed. The middle row is the peppers, and on the left are the long tomatoes, or what we believe is the Roma. So now what we'll do is we will just press these guys down, making sure that the seed has good contact with the soil. And just a word of advice: when you're planting and handling hot pepper seed, and it's good advice for any type of seed, but especially hot pepper seed, wash your hands off really good, because if you're like me and have a tendency to rub your eyes afterwards, you're going to get a little bit of pepper spray that way, and it is very unpleasant. I can speak from experience. So yeah, wash your hands after that. I'll be doing that once I dust this over. We're just going to dust over here, cover the seed over lightly with our existing dirt that we excavated out of our holes. And then we're going to firm that down, and we're not pressing hard, just lightly, just enough to make sure we got good soil and seed contact. And this isn't the rule of thumb for everything. Impatiens, basil, those would all just sit right on top of the ground, and you just water them in, and they would sink enough in with fluffy soil and that in the watering to make enough contact. Then I'm going to just use my little stake here to mark off my last row, so I don't forget and overplant on top of something that's already been planted. And we'll come back to those. Alright, so now everything's planted and covered over. Now I've just got a regular little sprayer, atomizer, not really a pump atomizer, just a spray bottle. And this is just regular tap water. And we're just going to give everything a light misting first to let it settle in, so we're not blowing the dirt we covered over there all over the place. And then a fairly good soaking with this. We'll get our coleus there that we had to repot. A couple of the others here that are a little droopy, give them a good drink. And although you could try to water this in with regular water and like a watering can, it's quite difficult to avoid everything going all over the place and basically washing your seeds out. And if you do get a few seeds that come to the surface, no worries, just press those back down in and sprinkle a little more soil over top and remist. And there's a good chance in a little pocket greenhouse like I've got here in the basement of the house that the humidity will be high enough that these things, if you kept them misted, would germinate on the surface anyway. You'd be surprised how many seeds need light to germinate. Got to remember, in the wild, there isn't anybody out there planting these seeds, and they all developed a means of germinating without human hand in most cases, corn being one of the exceptions. But again, if you want to learn more about that, we can talk about that in another video. Let me know in the comments. Well, I think that's it for now. So again, if you're interested in seeing more of these, give me a like and a subscribe. Share with your friends. And that's it for now. We'll see you later.